Ozark Season 4 Part 2 has finally arrived on Netflix, and there's a lot to break down surrounding our final 7 episodes with the Byrde family. After the tense ending to Season 4 Part 1, Part 2 continued to keep us on the edge of our seats and delivers quite the thought-provoking ending. I'm going to be breaking down Ozark Season 4 Part 2, explaining the plot, the ending, and giving you my brief review for the second half of the final season. This analysis will contain spoilers, so if you do happen to be someone who hasn't caught up on Ozark yet, then I would recommend watching this video after you've seen it. But if you want to keep up to date on all of my videos on shows like Ozark and Better Call Saul, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your notifications. Also, feel free to check me out on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Instagram at Cortex Videos, which is all linked in the description below. But without further ado, let's dive into Ozark Season 4 Part 2 Explained. So the first part of Ozark Season 4 ended with quite the shocking twist when cartel boss Harvey killed Darlene Snell and Wyatt Langmore, leaving Ruth in a state of grief and wanting revenge, with even the Byrde family fearing what she would do in retaliation. Well, we get the answer to that very early in Part 2, as Episode 8 opens with a quite unstable Ruth hunting down Harvey. After an episode of conflictions and seeing the emotion that Ruth feels towards what happened, she tracks down Harvey and shoots him right in front of the Byrdes and Shaw medical boss Claire Shaw. Quite the reverse happens at the end, but what really is the focus is the feelings of each of these characters, and it's primarily Ruth that conveys this in the opening episode. In the aim of protection for themselves and Ruth, Marty and Wendy cover up what she did by telling Omar Navarro that his nephew had disappeared, presumably being dead, and that they had no idea of what happened. We know this will come back to bite them eventually, but for the meantime, Navarro is happy that he now has a chance to get out and re-establish his extradition deal with the FBI. But it also gives him the opportunity to re-establish his leadership within the cartel, and that would have to come via Marty Byrde himself. So he sends Marty to Mexico to deliver a message to the cartel, one that falsely states that Omar himself had Harvey killed. While Marty is there, he has to temporarily act as the leader, playing the role of Omar and being stronger than we all would expect. Of course, this news doesn't go down well with those who have supported Harvey, leading to an attempt on Omar's life in prison, with that coming from his own sister Camilla, who is also Harvey's mother. On the other side of events, Claire Shaw is put in quite the tense position, and after cleaning up the mess of Harvey's death in her office, she organises a deal with Ruth instead of the Byrdes to supply her company with the drugs from Darlene's organisation. Ruth agrees to this because she can use the money earned to buy the Missouri Belle Casino from the Byrdes, and it's also a way of screwing them over too. To be honest, I was rooting for her to achieve this after all she's been through, and you know it's good writing when a show can get you on board with her character rather than the main ones, who we also want to escape this life too. Well, everyone except Wendy, I guess. But coming back to this development, the Byrdes refuse to give away the casino to Ruth and a reintroduced Rachel because it's the main use of laundering money for the cartel. Ruth doesn't quit, and because she's inherited Darlene's estate as well as her shares in the casino, she buys the remaining shares off Charles Wilkes, gets her criminal record cleaned up, ultimately leading to her becoming the owner of the Missouri Belle and the first Langmore in generations to be clean. Quite the story we wanted Ruth to have, and while it does eventually go south, this moment did bring quite a smile to my face after all she's been through. But this decision leaves to the obsessive Wendy Byrde finding a way to turn around Claire and get her back into the drug supply deal with the cartel. It results in a multi-million-dollar donation to the Byrde Foundation, as well as shares put in order for cartel mother Camilla in Shaw Medical. So they've got some footing, but losing the casino does become a problem that they need to resolve quite quickly. They need it to launder Omar Navarro's money, and he is pressing the Byrde Byrdes to move up the extradition plans to only days. Ruth, however, has had enough with giving in to the Byrdes and their operation, instead wanting to run the casino as a legit clean business. So the way out of this for the Byrdes is to come up with another plan. The FBI state that they would be happy for Marty to run the cartel operation if Omar were to be killed following that previous hit on his life. They want to keep the money rolling in, and because they formed a working relationship with Marty, this would be the positive outcome. We all know that this isn't going to work, but it does feel a quite deadly plan from Wendy. The idea is to have Omar killed and replace him with his sister, and it's even revealed that Camilla tried to kill Navarro with the previous hit. In a moment where this could all collapse, Camilla agrees to this proposition, and it gives the Byrdes a way out if they can pull it all off. But despite having this opportunity, it's clear that the Byrde family are in way too deep, and the developments over the course of this season leads to their children, Jonah and Charlotte, being fed up with their parents' ongoing lifestyle. Wendy won't pursue this opportunity because of the love she has for her children, and it means that for any progress to take place, she and Marty would need to re-establish that relationship. And this is formulated in the chaotic plotline surrounding Wendy's father, who is back in the Ozarks and wants to know what happened to his son, Ben. Once he learns that she ordered the hit on her own brother, he convinces Jonah and Charlotte into moving away from their parents and going with him. Wendy is furious, and this leads to her even handing herself in to the institution that previously housed Ben. She refuses to leave until Marty gets their children back, and with them already walking a tightrope, this just makes things even more tense. So the only possible way that Marty can make this happen is for him to tell Ruth that if she doesn't help him get his children back, he will spill the beans to Camilla about the death of her own son. As expected, Ruth agrees and lets Jonah and Charlotte in on the truth about Wendy's father. He's a drunk and moderately abusive person whose real reason to go up against Wendy was that he wanted to beat her and make her feel the embarrassment that she made him feel. So quite the crazy development that would of course send the kids right back to their parents. So Charlotte and Jonah listen as Wendy tells them the truth at the institution, admitting that she's been controlling them, trying to build something for them with the help of Marty, and that she will not control them any longer. She tells them the partial truth about Ben, and they leave, reunited as a family once again. And this is the scene that leads to that car crash incident we saw at the beginning of Season 4 Part 1. They accidentally crash, and it's revealed that this is the scene spelling out the message that the Ozark showrunners wanted us to feel. And that is that this isn't a show about whether they are good or evil, and rather that it's about the unpredictability of the life they've been trapped in and have gone deeper into. It's after this that they all stay alive and begin to make their way to the Foundation event, scheduled to take place later that same evening. So all seems to be getting better for the Byrdes, with their plan to get out of the drugs business staying afloat, and having given Rachel and Ruth control of the casino under witness by the FBI. But this is where we come to what is likely going to be a very controversial ending. In the ending of Ozark, the Foundation event is well underway, and it's at this point where Camilla arrives and has suspicion over what actually happens to her son in episode 8. She rightly believes that the Byrdes and Claire know more about her son's death than it appears. She has Omar killed in the process, but after finding out that he wasn't involved in Harvey's death, it makes her suspect that they were up to something. During the tense conversation, the Byrdes, having experienced in this kind of situation before, remain calm and don't mention a thing to her. But it's actually Claire who partially reveals what happened, leading to a chain reaction of devastating events. She tells Camilla that it was Ruth who killed her son and that the Byrdes weren't there. So while they appear to be free, the crosshairs now turn to Ruth. Camilla tells her hitman to kill Jonah and Charlotte if Ruth is warned in any way about the hitman coming to kill her, leaving Wendy and Marty completely distraught over having to let Ruth die. Ruth Langmore is shot down by Camilla at the Langmore stronghold, putting an end to the relationship she carried out with the Byrdes. It's devastating and acts as a somewhat reflection of episode 8 when she previously shot Harvey, and in the episode since, we've seen her envision the dead Langmores as if the show were warning us that her end is nigh. The truth got out and there was clearly no way for Ruth, regardless of cleaning up her criminal record. But that wasn't the last card being played in this finale, as there was one more event left to unfold. It's perhaps the scene that is going to divide people the most, and it acts in a similar way to how HBO's The Sopranos ended many years ago. In the final scene, we get the return of Mel Satem, following the Byrdes having him relegated back to the Chicago PD so that he couldn't take them to court. But Mel comes back, this time with the goat cookie jar, telling them that he knows about Ben's death. They offer to pay him, but Mel seems done with it, saying that they don't get to win this time. And with that, Jonah arrives, raises a shotgun, one that he's used before but not to kill anyone with, pointing it straight at Mel. In a Sopranos-esque move, we cut to black and hear the shot go off, leaving us with the questions over whether Jonah did actually kill him. Did Jonah kill him, or did he just shoot as a threat for him to back off? Marty and Wendy looked quite okay with this, and it seems like the only solution. If it means one more death to ensure their freedom, they seem happy with Jonah killing Mel to let that happen. But whether they got their freedom or not, what the ending leaves us with is a message surrounding mortality. There's no good or no bad, they are a family who went further and further down a road in a world that is unfair. Life is unfair and unpredictable, and this whole final season really dives into that concept. But what is final about this ending is the idea that for the first time in years, the Byrdes are united as a family again, and the pain they have suffered individually is what brings them back together. God will still know of the pain they've caused on so many other people, as reiterated throughout the last 7 episodes, so it proposes a losing scenario anyway. They can't take that back, regardless of what the outcome was, and that is what the final scene is telling us. Again, it will surely create divide, and even I haven't truly let it sunk in yet, or decided whether I liked it or not. So what did I think of the final season and ending to Netflix's Ozark? Well, the show had 14 episodes to give us an answer to the Byrde family's final leap for freedom. This could have been a shorter outing, but it's clear that with more episodes, they wanted to let the main characters have their space to really deliver the message that this ending contains. Yes, season 4 has twists and shocking deaths, but I think what they focused on here was the message of what this life means for the family, and also the ramifications with the depth they've gone to. It can either be an ending that leaves you frustrated and wanting more conclusions, or it can be one that you find very powerful when it comes to the themes and style of what Ozark really is. I honestly don't know what I feel about this ending, and like I said, it gives me a similar feeling to the ending of The Sopranos. And over time, this can either be a good thing when it comes to rewatching the show, or it may not have the longevity that HBO's show did back in the early 2000s. What I will say though is that part 2 of season 4 is not a happy ending, nor one that tries to celebrate the characters, and I think that's a good thing. You feel the tension right up until the final scene, and by not giving them a definitive happy farewell, they focus more on the truth. Many shows fall apart when they try and give us happy send-offs, rather than lean into the truth of characters like this, and what the ultimate destination is for them. And while the cut to black approach may feel disappointing right now, I think with the ending not playing out their freedom on screen, it leaves us with the dark messages that this show should end with. And the final season leaves us with another question too. Is life fair, and do the bad people win? The truth that is answered in this question is that there's darkness to it regardless of the outcome. Being in the Ozarks, the Byrdes have put so much pain on many others and on themselves, and it's not necessarily about whether they succeed, rather it's about the painful truths in the life they live. It recognises that there is no good, no evil, and instead it's all about the construction of an ideological force that builds within over time. We see that in all the characters to differing degrees, and I think the ending works well in that regard. Anyway, that's how I saw it, and I am particularly interested to see how this ending will sit with me and many others as the years go on, because it will definitely create a divide right now. But that was my video explaining the plot and ending for Ozark Season 4 Part 2. The second part of this final season is all about its character-driven focus, rather than the big twists that, say, a show like Game of Thrones pushed across in the final season. It fully understands how to tackle its characters and the relationship between them come its final act. Viewers will be debating whether it was the right move, but I think the more it sits with me, the more happy I am that they took this route, rather than tying everything up in a neat bow. Again, to some degree, it's similar to what The Sopranos did back in the day, and look at the longevity that show had. But it's down to how this is looked at in the years to come, and hopefully it's the kind of ending that people will appreciate more on rewatch and after more thought. And there's also an argument to be made that the ending doesn't really matter when you consider what the whole season leans into. Overall, the final season of Ozark had gripping performances, absorbing production, and tension-filled writing that all combine to tell the story of characters that display the truth in the road they have stayed on. Is there really a way out for characters as bad as this? I'm giving the final 7 episodes of Ozark a rating of 8.75 out of 10. But to those who have already seen the end of the series, what are your thoughts on all the events that went down, and were you satisfied by the ending? I will be expanding on my thoughts in a video essay in the coming days too, so keep a lookout for whenever I post. For more breakdowns and content on upcoming movies and TV shows, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.